Hey everybody, how are y'all tonight?
And we
Hey,
are live. Hey,
yeah, we're live.
We are live. I did it. Guys, bear with me tonight. I'm kind of doing this on my own. Brandy's gonna just let me try to figure this out. So just please bear with me tonight. I'm gonna do my best.
right, we're new to this live streaming stuff, so Miss Brandy's helping us out. Thank you, Hollywood.
Thank you so
Uh,
We
much.
really
Oh,
appreciate
you're
it.
so welcome. You're welcome.
We're broadcasting tonight from the lonely river bottoms of Western Kentucky. It's good to see everybody in the chat, all my good friends. I see a lot of people in there. Glad you're all here. If you've been watching the channel, you know that we've been busy making videos all week. We dropped 2 this week and one for our members only. So um, really busy and I'm still about 4 or 5 behind, but we're going to get caught up on that real soon. And uh, the videos that I'm putting up, you guys, I don't know if you know this or not, but you might want to stick around when you think the video is ending, because I've been putting things at the very end after the end credits go up. So a few little Easter eggs I've been putting in there for you guys. So hope you're enjoying those of you who are watching them. And I just want to say that we had a lot of people asking how they can support us and help us grow as a channel. And we have our membership levels up now, so different tiers and very affordable. So the best way that you could help us is to join the channel and become a member. And we've got a great show for you tonight. Just a great show. I've been talking to this fella for a couple months now, and he's had an extraordinary life. But before I introduce him, honey, is there anything that you'd like to say?
Yeah, I've got a few things I need to announce. If y'all would just bear with me for 1 second. Brandy, I need to ask, should I go ahead and bring Mr. T up or should I wait?
Just go ahead and wait until you're done and you're ready to talk.
Okay, all right. So first of all, I want to do a shout out. This may take a minute, and I'm sorry if I slaughter your name, but I want to do a shout out to our founding members. I told everybody last week that founding members would end after 7 days. So shout
Hi,
out.
Mr. Larry Fisher.
Hey, Larry.
Hey, brother Larry, Sherry,
Hang on a minute.
Mark,
here. Let me go back
Anna,
to Larry.
everyone in chat. Good to see y'all
Oh,
tonight.
no.
Oh,
Okay.
wait a minute.
I need to
We
give
got
how do I give
Be Kind just became a member.
Oh, thank you,
Thank you, Be Kind.
Welcome, my
Okay,
friend.
Brandy, tell me how I give him Larry a wrench, please.
We can do it right after the show. I
Yeah.
promise you, we'll do it right after the show. Let me see if I can tag him.
All right.
Nope, I can't do it right this moment, so it's going to have to wait.
Curtis, good to see you.
All right. Sorry, guys. Here we go. Founding members, thank you so much to War Criminal 7, Kim Drescher, Sherry Griffey, Spilling Tea with Spunky Sparky, The Deuster,
Sparky.
Stitch Witch, Ristaw, Scott's Life, Shade Viking, Stitch Witch 51, Appalachian Tales, Shelley Narango, I think I got that
Naranjo.
right. Naranjo, Hawk 86, Crone of Bart, Martin Groves, Sugi, Mike A, Christy Crawford, Linda Wood, CL Light, Stephen Hall, Jeff Rawls, Peter Frampton, Cheryl Webb, Debbie Craigie, War Chief Tracker C,
Brother Charlie,
Crystal McGee, Stephen Levin, Jenny Brown, Anaya, Amy Creel, Indy Southpaw, Jerry Faust, Sub Rosa, and Abby. You guys are all our founding members as of today. We appreciate you so much. I have a couple more things I need to say before we get on with the show. I need members to please send me your birthday. I need you to send them to my email address. It is lmsmith1970@hotmail.com. I need prayer requests sent to my email, lmsmith1970.com. Please. I want to shout out on your birthdays, and I want to do prayer requests. Bart's going to take care of all of the stories, and his inbox is filling up so fast. So I'm going to help on that end. So Tonight, I want to make sure everybody sends prayers to Daryl Denton. His dad's not doing real well, and we really need all of our prayer warriors out there just praying so hard for him tonight.
For Daryl's dad, yes.
Yes.
He's in the hospital. We want to make sure that we send out prayers, and we want him to come home soon and have a quick recovery.
Right. So we also have a P.O. box for those of you who want to share your experience with Bart via the mail. It is Barton and Letitia Nunley at P.O. Box 2033, Henderson, Kentucky, 42419. You will be able to find all of that in the description. I'm just kind of letting you know these new things that are going on. I want to do a shout out to all of our mods for doing such a wonderful job for us. Thank you, each and every one of you. I need to do a special shout out to Blondes and Booze, to Mark Maycheck and Texas Front Porch for all your technical help.
Thank you, Tex and Mark, everybody.
We wouldn't be able to do this.
You're welcome.
Would not be possible without you guys.
Right? Because I'm computer challenged myself. I'm at my best when I'm out in the woods or, you know.
Next, I want to say to our subscribers, please remember this. You're still getting everything you always have. You mean as much to us as any of our members. So you're not going to lose any content from us. You're going to be getting the same content. I want to say to our members, your support means so much. It is going to be used to buy some equipment. We're literally working with one good flashlight and some dollar flashlights from Walmart and our cell phones.
Right. And the good flashlight was a birthday gift from Hellbent Holler. So
yes. So
thanks, guys.
So everything that we get, every way y'all can help us is going to be used to bring all of you, our subs and our members, the best content we possibly can. Without our subs and our members, Inhumanoids would not be possible. Thank you, love, and God bless. One more thing, please click on the description on your videos and you'll find all of our info. If we missed anything, just let us know.
Thank you, Sherry.
All caps. When you have a question, please. And one last thing, I need addresses sent to the lmsmith1970@hotmail.com from ND Southpaw, War Chief Tracker C, Stephen Hall, Sue Gee, Martin Groves, and War Criminal 7. I need your YouTube handle and your real name. I have packages I need to get sent to you.
Right.
And I think I'm going to turn it over and we're going to pull up Mr. T.
Yeah, so what we've decided to do is on these live streams, you know, I don't want to get up here and just talk about myself. Of course, I could do that for hours and hours. Just ask Josh Turner. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm going to scour the country and I'm going to bring you guys interviews from the most credible witnesses that are around today. And I promise you there's some good ones already lined up and you're going to be amazed at what you hear. This is raw, as you can see. There's no slick production or anything. No smoke. Just raw and real. And next week I have another interesting guest, Bob from Michigan. I just dropped a video about him yesterday. And tonight,
thank you, Josh.
Yes, thank you, brother. Tonight we have a fantastic eyewitness to so many different unexplained phenomena. He wants to be called. He wants to keep his identity secret for reasons that you'll soon find out. And
thank you, Anthony.
Yes, thank you, guys. He wants to be called Mr. T, so we're going to call him Mr. T, and let's go ahead and bring him on up. This is the Mr. T that I dropped a video about. I think it was
Day before yesterday.
Sunday or Monday. Yeah.
Okay, so here we go, guys. Hey, Mr. T.
How you doing?
How are you?
Good. Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, everything sounds great.
Can everybody hear us okay? Please comment if you can.
Yeah, so it's good to talk to you again, Mr. T. You know, we've been talking for a couple of months now, and what you have to say is really incredible. And I know all the viewers are going to find your stories incredible. But one thing we come to learn as we talk to each other more and more is we're both men of honor and integrity, and we don't lie about stuff, and we just want the
No.
truth. And we want you guys to know the truth. So, T, will you tell us a little bit about yourself, brother? I know all about you, but give the viewers a little bit of background about yourself, please.
Thank you, Quincy.
Okay. I'm 55 years old, semi-retired. I live in around Missouri, and I was pretty much just brought up as a country boy, but I was one of those curious country boys. I was in the fields, I was out in the woods, fishing, hunting, you name it, trapping. And back then, I didn't know what these things were. I didn't know what you call them. And we
You
seen
know what you're
things.
calling now, though, right, T? They're not cryptids.
Nope, they're Inhumans.
They're Inhumanoids, exactly.
But
Thank
it's funny
you,
because
Cindy.
back in those days, there wasn't no real names other than what you could come up with.
Yeah.
And
Back
of course,
in those
back
days,
then,
nobody even heard of Dogman. That's a relatively new term there.
yeah, and the nearest thing you'd come to was like Wolfman or something like that, but it didn't look like the typical werewolf on TV that looked like a man with a suit.
Yeah.
These things actually look like a dog standing up. Their body is more human looking.
Thank you, Jatesh. And
And
Yeah. So
there's
tell
other
us a little bit
things.
about your childhood, T.
I grew up as a farm kid. We was poor. We lived on a farm, and we wasn't told about the house. We moved in there, and within 2 to 3 days, it just went bonkers. I mean, the paranormal stuff that was going on, you thought you was safe outside. You go outside, and it's worse outside than it is on the inside because outside you have farm equipment.
Yeah. So you're
And
living in a haunted house. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, to this day, that land is being watched by people. The house has long since been gone, but they watch that property like a hawk. The guy that bought it, he had big plans on making it a hunting reserve. Well, he didn't last one night there in a camper. And this guy's from another state. He ain't never been back. He stays in contact with one of the neighbors down there to kind of keep an eye on the place. They don't call the cops.
Right. So this was your place in Illinois that you used to live at when you was a kid, right? You was
Yeah.
brought up in Illinois. So when was the first time you were ever exposed to these Inhumanoids, T?
It was at that farm. And there was strange things like your bed would shake, you'd hear water drip, knocking, something chewing. Back in those days, the Raggedy Ann and Raggedy Andy dolls were the big thing to have for the kids.
Thank you,
Every kid
Josh.
had one.
Yeah.
I had one. And my sister had the other one. These things would get up and roam around, and you would be like in the bathroom and come out, and you'd catch a glimpse of them going around the corner. My dad kept telling my mom she's crazy. Well, something really bad happened. I don't know exactly what. She never would tell me. It scared her to death. Me and Dad was in the field on the tractor. She took off with my sister, didn't say a word.
You still there, T?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah. Keep going, brother.
And we was in there one night, and if anybody that's our age would know what a wee wheeler is, I would make a circle around the stairs into the living room, and I told Dad, I said, hey, there's a man up there that wants to talk to you. He was like, go on. I went around again, this about 10 times. Finally, he grabbed me by the arm, was going to whop me, and he goes, I'm going to show you there ain't no such thing as a man in here. We got a dog that'll eat him alive.
Yeah.
Got around the corner, and there this guy was at the top of the stairs, 3 steps back down, sitting there. My dad said, I'm going to make a cup of coffee, mister. You need to come down here. The guy didn't flinch. He just kept looking straight through us like we wasn't even there. My dad poured the coffee, picked up 3 knives and threw them. My dad hollered at the dog, started to go up the steps. This man did not stand up. He rose up in a sitting position, turned, and went right through the wall.
Wow. So it was a ghost on your steps. What did your dad say after that happened? I know your dad was a real strict, stern man. Can you hear us, T? I think we had some problems with Mr. T's audio there.
Well,
Okay.
while we're
Can you
waiting.
hear me, Barton?
Oh, there he is. I was
Okay.
I was gonna trying to get him back in there.
Okay, you're cutting out in and out on your audio, T. So make sure that your mic is on and active. And tell us about how your dad reacted to that
Hello?
ghost.
Hello? Are you still there, Mr. T? I don't think he can hear us right at this moment. Mr. T, if you can hear me, try
I
going
can't hear
out.
anybody. I see you guys talking, but I can't hear nothing.
Okay, this happened last time. Go ahead and go out and then come back in.
Did you hear
Go
that,
out.
Mr. T? Go out and then re-enter the studio.
There he goes. All right, Letitia, in the meantime, Lord Imp wants to know what to do to become a member.
Okay, so you go to Barton.
Hello, Matt.
You go to Barton's YouTube channel
Just hit.
and those are super
So all you
chats.
got to do is go down, scroll up through the chats, and hit somebody that become a member. Just hit that, and then say actions, and it should say join, become a member.
Right. If not, down by where you put your chat in, if you're perhaps using your phone, there will be a $sign, like a little dollar with a $sign in it. Go ahead and click that, and that'll give you the choice of doing super chats or joining memberships. So you can go there also.
All right, let's add Mr. T back.
Hi, little Maddie. Hi, Brett. Sugar Britches.
Can you hear us, Mr. T?
Can you hear us, Mr. T?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
All right.
Well, let's pick up where we left off. Your dad had just threw some knives at this ghost on the stairway and he walked through the wall. How did he react to that?
Well, my dad was not scared of nobody. He fought a lot of times. This guy rose up. He did not stand. He, in a sitting position, floated up and right through the wall. My dad was heading up the stairs, and when he seen the guy go through the wall, my dad could control his bowels.
Oh, wow.
It scared that man to death.
Right.
He grabbed me. We left. We stayed gone for a couple of days, and me and him went back. My uncle was out there with me one day. We had to feed the hogs. We went out to feed them. The hogs were okay. We went out later on to give them water and check on them. The hogs were gone. The fence was gone. The hog houses were gone. We didn't know what to do, so my dad come home and he goes, "How was those hogs?" "Well, we got a problem. Them hogs ain't out there." Dad went running out the door and went out there. There was no pen. There was no hog houses. The water, everything was gone. We got in a truck, drove to the other side of what would be the big yard. And back in the field, there was the pen set up like somebody had picked it up, moved it. The hogs were in there, but they was looking at each other in like a daze, like they was confused about where they was at.
Wow. So the entire hog pen and the hogs literally were moved from the original location to this new location, right?
Yeah. And the funny thing was, these hogs, they just act like they was in a trance. They just kind of standing there. They wasn't really doing anything, just kind of standing there like they was stunned.
Yeah.
Well, there was other things that happened. I was little. Me and my cousin wanted to play on the tractor. So we got on the tractor and was sitting there playing like we was starting it and driving it. The tractor started. I watched the key turn. I watched the buttons being pushed. I watched the orange light come on. When the orange light went off, this other button, the start button, hit. This tractor shifted into gear and back to my dad's brand new big machine shed. He caught up with us. We
So
got walked for it.
You ran over the machine shed with the tractor that started itself, correct?
Yeah, it started, put itself in gear, and there wasn't nothing we could do to stop it. It went.
Yeah.
My dad sent that tractor off. They went to that thing at the factory. They couldn't find nothing. They brought it back out and had me get on the tractor again and go through the process. I couldn't even push the clutch in. I couldn't reach.
How old
Even
were
if I
you?
could reach, I couldn't push it down.
Yeah. So how old were you when this happened?
Place of this one. So they did. But we would be out there and you would get scared in the house by pans flying around, table moving. You go outside and you think, okay, I'm safe. Vehicles would start up and fly right past you, head back through the field, and it was like somebody just shut the key off, they'd just die.
Oh wow.
You was not safe nowhere on that property.
Right. So I can understand what you're saying because I live in 2 or 3 haunted houses myself. Not much fun at all. Now, what happened when you ran over the machine shed? Tell us about what happened. What did your dad see when he come in there?
My dad come in, that was a little bit later, and got the door where it could be hung back up. All it did was just knock it off the track.
Yeah.
Got some guys to help. They got it on. My dad was in there looking around one night because he heard some noises, and he walked to the door. He heard the door open and slam shut before he got there. So when he got there, he opened the door. What he thought he seen was a wolf-like dog. So he was like, okay, he just shut the door. When he stepped around the vehicle, this thing was standing up, looking through the front glass, through the back glass at him. My dad run to that door, slammed it, and again, he lost control of himself.
Wow. So it was an upright canine, right? Is that what he saw?
Yeah. Yep, it was upright, standing just like a person would. Only thing was, it had a human-looking body, physique. The legs were like a dog. The head was like a dog. The hands, it was kind of like between a coon and a human's hand. They just looked slightly different. But we didn't know what they were. And we'd have them follow us in the tractor going back in the field, and they'd follow along and watch. Just follow along. And we didn't know what they were. Had no clue. We just chalked it up as something weird on the farm. You know, there was weird things that happened there. Any place on that property you would go, you was pretty much in danger. You was bound to see something. To this day, the people that farm around that land, they still see weird things. Will they go over there across the fence? No, they won't.
So you think that the people that were watching that land that are still watching the land, that's why they're watching, because of some kind of paranormal vortex or something in there, or maybe a portal or something in there. Who knows? But you think it's the government, right?
Yeah. And the reason being is because this guy that bought the property and owns it, he's a big shot in this other state. And there's been people that come down there, drive around, and look. There's people that live in that area that will not go there. They're scared to death of that place.
Yeah. Well, can't really blame them while that stuff's happening. So tell us, T, when was the first time you ever saw a dog man or a Bigfoot or anything like that? Any Inhumanoid? How old were you?
I'm guessing between 3-4 years old. Now, people's going to say, hey, wait a minute, 3 years old, you can't remember back that far. Let me tell you something. Growing up as a kid, I was always with my dad. My dad would always play the memory game. Hey, Todd, what is that thing coming? That's a tractor. What type of tractor? What year? I'd tell him. Okay. What kind of big truck is that? And I had all these things that I memorized. And my dad could take me any place, and ask me, what year is that? I could tell him. Why? Because he kept drilling into my head. So my memory on things goes way back.
Right. I actually have a couple memories of myself when I was 3. So yeah, it's not so hard to believe at all. What was it that you saw exactly?
Well, one night, me and my uncle was back at the pond, and that's for some reason right around that pond you felt safer. We was back there just sitting, talking, fishing, and we seen these lights come up out of the pond, kind of bubbling. Well, we thought maybe it's just frogs or something. These lights come up out of the water, hovered for a second, zoomed up the driveway toward the house. We watched this thing.
Josh, go ahead,
Huh?
Tim. Yeah, go ahead.
Excuse me?
No, go ahead.
Okay. These things zoomed up to the house. My mom was in the house. The front door, those were big, giant doors. Those doors were shredded. We was, I guess most people would call them orbs, but these things were bright in colors.
Yeah.
You would hear people talking and walking, and you'd never see them.
Yeah.
Now, my grandpa claimed one time when he was there, he was headed back to the field to pick up my dad, and he claimed that he seen his dad walking out there in the field waving at him. My grandpa's dad shot himself way before I was ever around. I mean, you would see things there that you thought was people you knew. It wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a mind game that played with you.
Right.
To get you to lower your defenses down, like you could really defend yourself against it.
Yeah, there's no defense against that stuff. And I was telling Josh Turner just a few weeks ago, the worst thing about living in a haunted house is being in there by yourself and having to take a shower. So
Yeah,
you start to wash your hair and you have to close your eyes for 2 or 3 minutes, and it's that's like the most uncomfortable feeling ever.
now I'm not trying to be
Josh, be kind, and to War Criminal 7 real quick. And I'm sorry, go ahead, Mr. T.
the one thing too, and I don't mean to be cruel about this, but when we lived there, we would pack up because of the violent stuff that was going on there. We would go to an aunt's house, different people's house, and think, okay, we'll spend the night, go back tomorrow. No, they didn't want that brought to their house. So you just stay up for a while and calm down, and you go back home. That's the way it was.
Yeah.
Welcome,
And I can't really say I blame them. You know, and there was other things. We watched a guy one afternoon literally come up out of the field. I'm talking about come up, walked a little ways, turned, because I must have knew we was watching him. He turned, looked at us, and when he stepped, it was like he stepped through a curtain. His leg went in, you couldn't see it. The rest of him went in, gone. So
wow, there probably was a portal or two there at that property.
I would just like to know.
Portals, T, but
Huh?
a lot of people don't believe in portals, but I have to say that I do, and I'm not going to make fun of anybody that talks about portals. I saw one when I was 9 years old.
And the real question for that is, are they man-made or are they natural?
Well, I would have to say natural or supernatural, rather. Of course, there's no such thing as supernatural in reality. Everything that's part of our world is actually part of our natural world. Even the things that we call supernatural, right? That's just a man-made label. Supernatural doesn't really exist. Everything's a part of our reality. So, yeah. So let's talk about some creatures now, T.
All right.
Tell me about some of your creature sightings. I know you've got a lot of exciting stories about those things.
Like I said, I've seen those up there at that farm. Years later, I would hunt by myself, coon hunt at nighttime. And, you know, you learn when you go to the woods, if it feels creepy, leave. Well, sometimes the coon hunting was pretty good. $40, $50 a coon, that's a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
I'd stay out there anyway. And I'd be followed. There was times I would turn my wheat light on, shine behind me, and you'd see these eyes behind a log peeking over at you.
Yeah. For those who
You
don't
learn to
know, a
walk
wheat light is what us Southerners call a headlamp. Okay, we call them
Yeah.
wheat lamps down here. So
Yeah. And I've seen things that look like a human, but they're not. They don't have the features that we do. They are shaped like us. They don't move like us. It was nothing to see these things out there. Did I run? Yeah, you darn right I did. I wasn't sticking around to see what it was. I looked at it and I boogied.
yeah,
There was times you would be down there and you'd hear trees cracking. Well, you'd turn and go the other way. And next thing you know, it was ahead of you doing it. I got to where I just leaned up against a big tree and just sat there because which way you going to go? I've had many a times seen creatures walk right past where I'm at, knowing full well that I'm sitting there, just keep on walking as if to say, hey, you want to play? Like, no, I don't think so.
All right, what kind of creatures? What they look like?
Okay, there was one down there, and my dad swore during it was a panther up a tree. So I walked it in the field where this guy was farming, and when I got down there, this thing stood up. It was no panther. It was your typical Bigfoot up in this big tree. I stopped the farmer and pointed, and he said, get in here. Got in a tractor. We left. Next day, he went back. There was tracks all over down there. He made the mistake of shooting at one time. Yeah, that panned out real good. His
Yeah,
tractor was pretty much destroyed.
Oh, wow.
It's one of those things. I think these creatures know, and I hate to say it, I think these creatures know us better than we know them. The reason being is because they let you see them if they want you to, but knowing how man is, man always wants to kill everything.
Especially when you're
That's why.
from Kentucky. Yeah. We shoot first and ask questions when everything dies down and everybody's safe. That's how we roll. But yeah, you're right.
And they've been taught that, you know. But again, there's some of them that's just as curious of us as we are them. And with every one of these cryptids, there's good and there's bad. Some of them are man-made, some of them aren't.
Mm-hmm.
Down here where I'm at now, there's a lot of cave systems down here. And there's a couple of buildings that went into like a sinkhole. Those things are staying in the places like that.
Really?
I don't know what the door sound is, that metal slamming sound, but sometimes you'll hear that.
Wow, that's been mentioned several times in the last year, repeated over and over again. And I personally think that they're hidden doors opening and closing. But you know, I don't know. I haven't
It
heard
kind of
that.
sounds like a pig feeder being flipped, the lid. Like when a pig gets raises his nose in there and he eats, when he pulls his nose out, it makes a slamming noise, like a metal slamming noise.
Right.
I don't know what it is.
People don't know that you're talking about Missouri now. So about 5 or 6 years ago, you moved from Illinois to Missouri. Is that right?
Yeah.
Thank
and
you.
let me start out by, huh?
I was saying thank you to somebody. Sorry.
Okay.
So this activity, future activity, follow you, T, from Illinois to Missouri.
I sometimes wonder that because when I got down here, we were in those pictures and the story that you talked about the other night with these people.
Mhm.
I had no clue. We wasn't even looking for that. We was looking for my ancestors' cemetery, and people kept giving us a runaround. They'd send us here and send us there. That's how I stumbled across these things down here. It was by accident. It wasn't because I was looking for them, because I didn't want to see them.
Yeah.
And then they got to where they followed me home. And I guarantee you, I go outside right now, and you can see the eyes looking through the trees. Now, have they ever bothered me? No. I ain't saying they won't, but I ain't gonna walk over to find out. I've seen one in broad daylight come across the road over here, went down the neighbor's driveway. When it got down there, it turned and looked, seen me staring at it. The thing went across back into the woods and back up through the hayfield and disappeared. I had my wife call the neighbor and tell him, "You better keep your little dogs in because of the." I told him it was a coyote.
Yeah. So, in answer to your question, how long did you live in a haunted house? How long did you live in that haunted house, T? And I know the one you
Uh,
moved into in Missouri is also haunted. The one you're living in right now, correct?
yeah, about every place I ever lived has some kind of haunting going on in it. I At the farmhouse in Illinois, I lived there probably about 3 years, maybe. Down
Yeah.
here, I've been down here a few years, and it's it's a weird kind of haunting. You be sitting here, and it sounds like somebody dropped a pile of books. You get up and go look for it, you can't find it. You'll hear music sometimes. There's nothing on. I've heard people talking. We've seen shadows in here outside. I've had shadow people stalk me. We have cameras set up so I can look 360 and never go outside. I've had them follow me while I'm out there locking the animals up. And when I get back in, my wife goes, "You ain't going to believe this. Watch this." And she'll rewind it. Look at that. These things are so dark, you can't see through them. What they are, I just say shadow people because that's what they look like to me.
Right.
It's
Well, a
just a
good friend of
black
ours,
outline.
Anna Haywood Jones, just about a month ago saw one run across the road in front of their van. Very strange. Very strange thing. You know, it's how do you explain stuff like that? I don't know, but everybody wants to know, T. And they know that from my video, I told them that you have uh, good daytime footage of a dog man walking. Can you tell us about what happened when you got that footage? What did you and your wife see?
Okay. Across the road from me, there's a big giant, several hayfields, and they're all connected. They put always round bales over there. We have cameras that surround our house 360. I've seen it, just the back of it, so I went outside to look. And I walked out toward the road, and this thing stopped, come toward me. I just thought it was a big German Shepherd looking thing. So I just stood there by the vehicle watching. This thing come a little bit closer, then it turned and headed back. A few seconds later, it popped up by a bale. This time when I looked over there, it was standing up at the bale, peeking over, watching me. This thing was huge. I, if anybody knows anything about what a Shetland pony is, this thing was about the size of a Shetland pony. It
Oh,
was huge.
what can you describe it in a little bit more detail? What color was it? You know, what does its face look like? Stuff like that.
It was basically it reminds you of a wolf, but it was that black with like tips on the end of the hair. Like the tips were dipped in a lighter color.
Yeah.
It had the how these deer do when it's rutting season, their neck swells.
Uh-huh.
This thing's neck was huge. It looked like it was swollen, but I think that's just the way it was. Now, why was it over there? I have no clue.
Did it have a tail, Mr. T?
Yes,
a
it
lot
did.
of doctors do, some don't. I've always asked that question. Could you see a tail on this thing?
Yeah, and the tail, just like a wolf, it went down, kind of between the legs, and it was a bushy tail.
Yeah.
This thing was just creepy looking. But again, I just wasn't sure what the heck was really going on. Why is this thing watching me? That ain't the only time I've seen it. I've seen it a lot of times walking over here along the edge of the woods, same hayfield, cut through, stop, and try and look over its shoulder at me.
Right. So
But
just so everyone know that I'm not full of BS. You do have footage, daytime footage of this dog man walking, and
our
it's about 50 feet away, right?
our cameras run 24/7. The only time our cameras shut off is if the electricity goes off. Otherwise, our security cameras are night vision and day. They do record 24/7. We can leave and we can look at our phones and watch what's going on around the house.
Right. So you do have footage of this thing walking down
Yes, I do.
the street, and it's something that you might consider sharing in the future with our viewers. Is that right, T?
Yes, I sure would.
I know everybody would be amazed to see it. I know I've never seen a picture of a real dog man. I've never seen a dog man myself. I'm trying to, but I've yet to do that. So I know everybody would be amazed. So whenever you're ready to share that, you be sure and let us know, and we'll do a podcast and just put all your video evidence in there that you're willing to share. So that'd be something else.
Thank you, Jason, for your donation.
Yes.
We've seen, like I said, shadow people. I've seen these. It reminds you of an earthworm, but it's like a person. There's that kind of a texture. I don't know what you really call them. There was no face on this thing. I've seen those.
Let's dwell on that for a minute because that's a new one. You haven't told me about that. I know you have lots of stories that we haven't covered yet in our private conversation. So, how big was this worm?
It, like I said, I say a worm because I don't know how else to compare it. It was shaped like a human, but it just, the way it moved, just was kind of slithery looking. You know, it's kind of like fluid.
Yeah.
I'm guessing probably 6, 7 foot, maybe.
Wow. And so they were moving around on the ground. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's kind of like a on all fours. Then would stand up, look around, walk a little bit, then it go back down on all fours.
Yeah.
I've also seen I don't know what you call this thing either, but you see this periodically. This place we go to, you'll look up in the trees because you hear the trees rustling. There's no wind. You look up there, and it looks like you're looking through a plastic bag. Now, what that is, I have no clue. There's all kinds of things going on at this place.
Right. Letitia said it sounded like a predator type creature.
Yeah, I guess that's what you would say, because it don't really have any features that you can discern. It's
Right.
just like you're looking through a wet plastic bag.
Wow.
Now,
Shade and
one,
go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you, Shade. And who, honey?
Can't remember.
Let's
I
scroll
was
down
trying.
there you go.
Liberty, thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. So, T, tell us one of the stories that you told me that particularly interested me was a time that you went pigeon hunting at night. So,
now I got lost again.
share that with the viewers, if you will.
Are you still there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
He lost us.
I think he
I'm
lost us.
going to have to come right back because I can't hear you guys.
Okay. While he's doing that, we want to thank everyone for your donations. Sorry if we're missing you guys. We're doing our best here to keep up.
Thank you for your membership.
It's moving pretty fast over here.
Yeah, I'm
Tracy,
moving. I'm moving on two
Tracy
screens,
Buddies.
and it's all touch, you know. So I'm like touching everything, and I know you see my fingers there, and I'm sorry, just everything's touch
That's
screen
okay.
on both of my screens.
Can you go back and tell Lord Amp again how to join? He's having problems joining, I believe.
Well, you should be able to go to the community tab on Bart's channel and hit the join button. Or if you're using your phone, you should be able to go down to where you put in your chat, and there'll be a $ next to the chat.
Okay.
Where you enter your chat and just hit that button, and
Okay,
it should be there.
Okay.
Okay, T, we lost you again, brother.
Yeah, that's technology.
Right? Gotta love it.
Thank you, Sugi.
Yeah, thank you, Sugi. We appreciate you. We love all you wonderful people out there in the chat. Thank you so much for showing up. So, T, on one of our private conversations, you told me a story that particularly impressed me. It was about the time you went pigeon hunting. Would you share that with the viewers?
Yeah, I always hung with the people older than me, and this guy was a good neighbor. He asked me one night if I want to go pigeon hunting. I was like, okay. So told my parents. He come pick me up. We drove up there. We had to park at this gate and walk back maybe like 2 to 3 blocks, city blocks. There was a big, huge barn. Now this barn, I've never seen another barn that looked like it on the inside. There was a breezeway that run down the center of it. To the left of it, there was little rooms that each room had its own separate door. There was no car in there. We don't know how they got it in there unless they built the walls around it. And above the breezeway, there was a ladder that you took and you went up into the loft, and the loft was huge. This building was built with pins. We was in there pigeon hunting, and they was up on the rooftop on the inside.
On the rafters, yeah.
So, yeah. And while we was there, we kept hearing something stirring around. So my neighbor told me, he said, be quiet. So I stood there and we heard it walking. We wasn't sure on who it was. We thought it was a who, not a what. While we was sitting there, this thing proceeded to walk around, and you could hear it patting on the building sometimes. And through the floor slats, you know, you got them big, like 12-inch wide boards, and you could look through the cracks.
Yeah.
You could periodically see something huge, dark in color. We watched this thing. It walked around. We watched it through the slats. This thing was walking around. You'd hear it sniffing. You'd hear it blow like a pit bull. It kept walking around. It went around to each one of those doors, opened the doors, went in, looked around, sniffing, and we was above it the whole time. And you could just get glimpses of it just through the cracks.
Right.
My neighbor told me, he said, Todd, you're older than me, or I'm older than you. You're going to run. Okay. If it comes up here, we're going to run. You can go out each end of the barn. We watch, and this thing comes to the ladder. I was getting ready to run. This thing, you could hear it pulling, sniffing. All of a sudden, I said, heck with it. I bailed and ran. He ran the other way. My dad, I told him about it. My dad made me go back up there. And I showed my dad where we was at. And I told him, he was like, no, there's no such thing as creatures, ghosts, or nothing. You're going back there. Yeah, we was blackberry hunting up there. Wasn't too long after that. My dad was talking to me. I was on the other side of the patch. He went in and come up through the center and was picking these big timber berries, he called them. This thing was between me and him. I couldn't see it. And he was just jabbering away. And every so often I'd answer him. I couldn't see him. All of a sudden, I heard him holler. He lost his number 2, and he went tearing out of them blackberries. He never went back up there again. And I kept questioning him, did you see what I see? He goes, yes, I did. I said, okay, I thought you said these things don't exist. he never talked about it again. What we've seen reminded you of a kind of a real enlarged human body, but the face looked more human than a gorilla or anything like that. That's one thing I could compare it to. The face was more, the forehead was huge, the head was kind of conical. When you looked into the eyes of these things, you could see a trace of human-like traits in that thing.
Yeah, so it was
We ain't the only ones that seen it.
Bigfoot.
We ain't the only ones that seen it, but just nobody ever talked about it.
Yeah.
You know, there was problems down there. People's livestock would go missing, and they do like they still do. They chalk it up to wild dogs, coyotes, and when you go to these places, you know darn good and well that ain't what got them.
Right.
But the local farmers there also have ditches they dump dead livestock, and so pretty much they have their own food source. All they have to do is go to those ditches.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
Amy, we miss you too.
Yeah, we miss you too, Amy. We'll come see you again soon, girl, you and John. So getting back to the subject of missing people, T, now tell us about the whole community that disappeared overnight.
Okay. Okay, now these were, I gotta try to figure out what the proper word is.
Yeah, it's called colored folk. It was a black community.
Okay, the colored
That's
folks started out.
Don't worry about it.
They started out being slaves there. After the war, they had to set them free and pay them a wage.
Yeah. Now this is Missouri, right?
Yep, this is not far from where I live. The one guy come from another town, and he had been taught how to read and write and pretty much become the preacher. They would sit in the little log cabins they lived in. After a while, they needed a bigger place for a school and a church, so they built that. Now, where this was located, nobody was ever going to get down there to bother them because the white farmer that owned the property around it kind of watched out for them. They started having kids. Their kids had kids up till just, quite a few years ago. But overnight, these people just, they didn't say, hey, I'm leaving. I'll go in town. Bye. No, they were just gone overnight. Gone. Furnishing still in the houses. Everything was still in the church. These people just gone. Just
the whole community.
Never did. Yeah, it was the whole community. And some of them come from West Virginia. Some of them come from Kentucky. Some of them come from Louisiana. They come from all over the place because it was word of mouth. And you know how a river is. Back a long time ago, the river was like a telephone. If you wanted to find out what the latest trends was, you watched the riverboat, and they would dock in your town, and that's how you got your information.
Yeah.
These people disappeared, and nobody asked why. Nobody cared. That's why.
Never an investigation or anything like that?
There was never no investigation, nothing. Now, the old houses that they lived in have since been bulldozed. The church still stands, and their little cemetery, I say little because there's a few tombstones. A lot of them are, you have to look for them. The cemetery is still right there around that church. But there was It ain't like somebody said, "Hey, I seen them in the woods headed toward town." No, they were just there one day, gone the next. They did not leave.
That's so bizarre. It reminds me of Roanoke, the story of Roanoke, where everyone, the settlers, disappeared overnight. And it's just crazy. Don't know what could have happened to them. It's really a mystery. But so Mr. T has invited Letitia and I up there to Missouri to go investigate on all the properties that he's telling us about. And
You'll be going, Brandy.
right.
I'm over here pointing like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I know it's going to be fantastic. One of the question was in the chat was, do you ever see UFOs? T. So
I have.
He sent us a picture of a UFO. Mr. T has started trusting me enough to start sending pictures. So don't worry, as he shares them, I will share them with you.
You have to show me.
all right. Well, I was thinking about that. I know you have some pictures that we're going to look at. We're running up almost on our 1 hour mark.
Okay.
And we're going to take a little 5-minute break, let everybody use the bathroom and what have you. So do you want to go with the pictures after the break, and then we can start talking about those?
We have time to discuss them a little bit. Yeah.
Tell
Sounds
explain to Mr. T what's going on.
Yeah, so we're taking a 5-minute break, Mr. T. We're at the 1 hour mark. And once we take this 5-minute break, we can come back and talk for as little or as long as you would like. There is no time limit here. It's my channel. We can do whatever I say. So
Okay.
we can
We
talk.
do what
about
Bart
it.
says.
So don't go nowhere, Mr. T.
Don't
Just
go anywhere.
grab you a drink or coffee, water, whatever you want, and come out. Be right back, okay?
Yeah, we'll be back in 5 minutes, guys. Don't leave. We got some good stuff coming up. You don't want to miss it.
Here's our countdown. Thank you, Tex.
Welcome
we're
back,
back.
everybody. Thanks for sticking around, guys. You're not going to be disappointed. So, one of the questions, Mr. T, was, have you ever seen UFOs?
Yes, I have.
Okay, I'm gonna show a picture that you sent me,
Okay.
and let's talk about that. Tell me what happened.
Okay. That is the top of the hill, and it's a 2-acre plot. Back in those woods where you see this thing, that drops off into the big bottoms. That runs probably 10 to 12 mile each direction. We was coming up the road and happened to see this thing coming across the field. My mom told Dad to pull over. We stopped and we watched this thing. It moved in a jerky type movements. It come up over the trees, and right where that thing is at is between where the hill drops off and some of those other trees. This thing was like it's kind of reminds you, it like it slithered around the trees. There was no noise, there was no wind coming off of it, no smells, no nothing. It was just there.
Right? How big
I
was it,
took a,
T?
I'm guessing probably about the size of a Vega car from the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only picture I could get of it where you could actually see anything, but it looks mainly just like a bright light. When we was looking at it, it was metallic looking, silver, kind of like a hubcap, you know. It
Yeah.
was that real shiny. And that ain't the only time. My dad seen them a lot of times down there in the bottoms, just going around different places. Um, a neighbor of mine, we went with him one time down in the bottoms because we seen these lights down there, so we went down to see what it was, and we probably was in within 500 feet. This thing picked up, no noise, and went up a little ways, and then just shot off. It just shot off. I mean, it was just so fast, but there was never any noise. Um, the animals didn't seem like they was disturbed by it. Um, periodically, you would see things like that in this area, and usually what the people talked about around there was, well, did anybody see those lights last night? We was on the way to work one night, me and my dad, and this guy that worked at another place, he got fired. We was coming down the same road, and this guy took an article in the shopper and asked if anybody caught any pictures of this thing because he got fired over it. They thought he was drinking.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my dad talked it over, and Dad said, well, can't leave that man hanging because we've seen stuff down here too on this same road. My dad talked to a few people, and other people seen it. They finally got together and went and talked to this guy's boss, and they rehired him back. But you would see things like this, you know,
Yeah.
in that area. It was frequent. I mean,
Yeah. Here's another picture that you sent.
but you just,
Tell us about this one.
you would catch a glimpse of it. Sometimes you wouldn't even know it was there. It's so quiet unless you just looked. But there was trees in our bottom that 15, 20 foot high that was broke off, and there was no reason for them. They were ash trees, and yeah, that's one that's kind of a crescent. Okay, I was younger. I was kind of stupid. And I would always go to this local cemetery on top of the hill. I was up there one night, and I kept seeing this thing like a star, and I watched it, and it kept coming down, down. It come up through the bottoms up there and come up on top of the hill. So I went on the other side of the cemetery to get a better look where the trees were thinner. This thing come down, and it wasn't that far away. But again, there was no noise, there was no disturbances. It was just there, and in the next minute, it was like when you throw a glass of water, it's like it stretched out and gone.
Yeah.
There was no sound, no nothing. It just
So don't you think
stretched
it's
itself
strange
out,
that you have all these?
and it was gone.
Don't you think it's strange you have all these different phenomena in the same area?
I ain't the only
Can you
one that's
really
seen
talk about
that. The two neighbors that was up there and seen the same thing.
Right. And so the house you're living in now is haunted as well.
And again, an unidentified flying object. I don't know why that area is so rich with that stuff. I have no clue.
Well, where you're at in Missouri is a lot like Western Kentucky. You have a lot of Native American burial mounds close. Plus, you have running bodies of water.
Are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me? No, he had to leave again. Sorry, folks, about that. Connection's obviously bad, but I'm sure he'll be back. But so
Exactly.
It happens.
Yeah, and that be kind. Yeah, we'll get that all figured out after the show about all of those gifts. We'll get it all taken care of after the show. So no worries. We'll make sure Lordum gets his subscription, and we'll be cool.
Thank you guys for all the gifts you're giving tonight. We
Yes.
appreciate it more than you know.
we sure appreciate it. We're
Yeah,
use the money
gonna
for
make a lot of
basket.
people happy tonight. Gonna see
Yeah.
that extra videos and stuff. That's gonna be cool.
We've had
Oh, yeah.
we've had a few that have bought gifted memberships.
Yeah, thank you guys.
So Turner was one of them.
Josh, thank you,
I
brother
think
Wolf.
Be Kind was one of
Be
them.
kind, yeah. We love all you guys.
So-
There he is.
Let's see if we got him back. All right, are you there, Mr. T?
Yeah, I'm back.
All right.
Yeah, somehow it kind of like I couldn't hear you guys talking, and
Yeah,
I had to
you
go off.
can
and back
you
on.
can hear us now, though, right?
Yeah, now I can see and hear you.
Okay, so what do you think, T, about the all these seemingly unrelated, unexplained phenomena all showing up in the same place at the same time? What do you make of that, if anything?
I kind of chuck it up to the area, and I still think some people are magnets for paranormal, encrypted, whatever you want to call everything. It's some people are like a lighthouse that somehow these things just pick up, and I believe anybody can witness anything, but I believe there's certain people that is prone to being involved with these things.
Yeah.
That's just my personal opinion. I mean, I don't know everything. I'm just going by what I've experienced.
Thank you, Larry.
Yeah, thank you, Brother Larry. So let me ask you this, T. Are there a lot of Indian burial mounds in your area?
Up there where I lived at, there was a lot of Indian burial grounds, and down here where I'm at now, there was Indian burial grounds, and there was also big Indian camps all around this area.
Right.
And I ain't talking about just little bitty camps.
What about large bodies of water?
Yes. Yep.
There's
We got the
close to the river,
Mississippi
right?
River.
Mississippi River.
Mississippi River.
Yeah, we
Okay,
got that runs.
What about caves, T? Any caves in the area?
Excuse me?
Any caves that you know of in the area?
Yeah, there's lots of caves down here. These bluffs are riddled with them.
Yeah,
There's one cave.
Caves we need to go look at.
Yeah,
There's one cave down here that was at one time a brewery. And they used to make a lot of alcohol there. Then the guy left, and the people that owned this house owned that cave. Now, this cave was also used back in the 60s as the community fallout center.
Wow.
It was a place that everybody would go to, like during a tornado or any kind of a natural disaster where you had to be indoors where you were safe. And up until probably 10, 15 years ago, they since then made other places. But this cave, if you don't know what you're looking for, you'll swear them down. It's just somebody put a wooden door. But it's huge, and it runs through 3 towns. It runs underneath 3 towns and comes up in different spots. And
well, so you have 3 of the main factors that I found in my research, that I've been doing this since 1985. So 3 things I think contribute to the experiences that people are having. It's natural caves, running water, and Indian burial grounds, or even more recent cemeteries, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
So the running water symbolizes life. The caves symbolize the underworld, and of course the cemeteries symbolize the afterworld. So, you know, that I think that has a large, it plays a large part in people seeing things that they do. And everyone, you know, in my own case at least, I don't think that I'm a magnet for any kind of paranormal activity. Honestly, I think it's just where I was born and raised, and I've lived in this area. It sounds like one of the areas that you sound like the area that you lived in Illinois when you were young. So we have all 3 of these characteristics of this topography here, and thousands of people have seen UFOs and Bigfoot here in Western Kentucky, and probably tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, all throughout history. But like you say, not many people talk about it or make it known, you know, because they don't want to lose their job. They don't want people to think they're crazy or anything like that. So they just keep it to themselves, like you've done all these years. And some people don't even tell their wives what's happening to them. So yeah, I think that all plays a part in what's going on out there. And I also think the government has a big part in it too. So
yeah. We talked about this one thing, and I kind of wanted to hit on it. When I was a kid growing up, we was real poor. So
yeah,
I went with my uncle for a while and got a job where he worked on a farm. This guy brought a weed hook in, and he goes, "If you can hold this weed hook and you can swing it, I'll hire you." Well, I got the job. He took me out to the field. You couldn't see the end of these fields. My uncle had this big Doberman. The dog come in, played with us kids. The dog was lovable, but it was a watchdog. I never knew it to bite, but it was a watchdog. In this town that was north of the town, several towns north of where I lived at, it was well, I had plans. I wanted a mini bike and I wanted school clothes. So that's why I went to there and cut corn out of beans. I was there for a couple of days, and on a farm, if you're a farmer, you work on a farm, farmers talk. It's like a farmers club. They talk. Well, I got to know everybody on that block. And this is weird. And this is the way things are done. My uncle's boss come over and he got my uncle. And of course, I walked out there and he called him to the side and said, I need to talk to your uncle alone. Well, I overheard them talking. There was a old man and old woman. They lived across the holler, probably 3 miles east of us. He proceeded to tell my uncle that he wanted him to get in the truck, that there's a problem. My uncle let me go. We went over there, and this house looked like it had imploded from the inside. People talked. They proceeded to talk, and I sat there in the truck listening. And the old man and old woman was watching TV. Something come in and killed both of them. The next day, these vehicles showed up. At first, they wouldn't bother nobody. They was just watching. They put up crime tape. They was dressed just kind of plain. But they sat around those farms watching. After a few days, another man got killed. A third person got killed. A third group of people, this man and old woman, they was yanked off of a moving tractor. It was a little Ford tractor. The woman was in the pig carrying crate because they was going back to check their livestock and to feed. The tractor was still running when these people was pulled off. What they started telling everybody is it's coy dogs. They're a cross between a coyote and a dog. No, I ain't never seen any kind of dog jump through a picture window, slaughter somebody, and leave. No, that's what they tell everybody then, and that's what they tell everybody now. It's pit bulls. It's German shepherds. When we would leave, my uncle would put that dog, that Doberman, in this little shed because he had saddles and stuff in there. We come home. My uncle dropped us off. We got out, and the shed door was open. My uncle just left. He didn't notice it. We started to walk up there, and my aunt told me to take the girls and go in the house, so I did. She went to the shed. Something attacked her. It was because I'm assuming it felt cornered. It wanted out of there. The only thing she could say was, big dog. My uncle swore and be damned that Doberman turned on her. That Doberman was never found. Now, what was in that shed? She said a big dog. It come out of that doorway, hit her, and just kept on running. This went on the whole summer, and as quick as it started, it stopped. There was livestock slaughtered, not eaten, slaughtered for sport. And people still talk about it today up there. As quick as it happened, it quit. These people started threatening people. Keep your mouth shut. It was dogs.
Mm-hmm.
People buying these dogs and turning them loose, stray dogs.
Well,
So they started trying to.
Yeah, it's a standard cover up they use. Dogs, wild dogs. Quite ridiculous, really.
It is. The sad thing is, these people, they wasn't bothering nobody. They didn't deserve what happened to them. Nobody deserves that. And nobody deserves to be put quietly in the ground and not have any kind of funeral. They took those bodies, they buried them in the cemetery out there. You were supposed to just go on with your life like nothing happened. And all the while, animals were getting attacked. Dogs, cats, sheep, pigs, goats, cows, horses. It didn't matter. When these things was in the area, the animals were literally trying to get as close to the house as they could. And I've seen that here. There's times I walk out to smoke and there's deer that'll be within 20, 30 foot of me, just standing there, look at me, they look toward the woods. And I'm watching those eyes. And these deers get to shaking, and it's like they're choosing between which one is the most evil. They'll run between me and them, but close to me, out into a field. I've had elk in my backyard and didn't know why they were just standing there by my orchard. They should have been spooked. No, they was trying to get away from what was in the woods.
Thanks, Sherry Griffey and Imps. We love you guys too. We really appreciate you. So all that killings happening, was that recent, T, or was it a while back?
The deal with the farm up there with all them people that got killed?
Yeah.
I was still pretty young. But like I said, you know, there's things like that happen all the time, but people just don't talk about it. They ain't going to talk about it.
Thank you, Hazes.
Yeah, it's kind of strange, Mr. T, that when I was growing up, you know, my whole life, I heard of maybe one fatal dog attack, maybe two, but no more than that. It was really, really rare. But now we have all these Inhumanoids coming out, and now you're hearing of one or two a year, every year. So, and it's still the same old tired, worn out excuse of wild dogs. Now I know that wild dogs can kill people. Do they kill people? I don't know. I know that they can, but it seems like if a pack of wild dogs would kill somebody, they would stay there and eat the person, right? They wouldn't let the food go to waste. So
yeah, they wouldn't waste it.
You hear of wild dog attacks and people getting killed by that, but there's no dogs in the area. That doesn't make sense to me. A coyote, a pack of coyotes will make a kill, they'll eat it. They won't leave, you know, they won't eat just a leg or something. They'll eat it all. So I'm not really buying that wild dog theory, but my brother, back in the 90s, he lives in Geneva, Kentucky, and he was camping out, him and his wife, on the Ohio River down in Geneva river bottoms. And he woke up one morning, heard a racket outside his tent. So he unzipped the flap just enough to look out. And he said, Bubba, there was 12 dogs out there. And I don't mean regular little dogs. I mean, these dogs were as big as Great Danes. They were all different colors, 12 of them. They were wild, and they were going through our garbage. And he said, I just zipped the zipper back up and closed the flap again and just lay down, and we was really quiet until they left. But he said if one of these packs like this, he couldn't even, we always have dogs, but he didn't know what breed of dogs these were, only to say they were huge like Great Danes in different colors. But he said if one of these packs was to get a hold of somebody, there would not be anything left. And I believe him. Now, does it happen? Not sure.
I'm not sure either. It's weird though. Yeah. I've had pit bulls during my lifetime, and I've never had a problem with them. But I know up north there was something that was killing livestock, and this was another time was killing people's livestock, and they went to people's houses that they knew had pit bulls that were registered through the city. They gathered them dogs up, They didn't quarantine them. They gathered them up and they euthanized them.
Yeah.
That's sad.
And
Yeah. It's a shame.
and it's sad because the dogs didn't do nothing. It wasn't the dogs.
Yeah.
But people have been so misinformed about different breeds of dogs that they only hear the horror stories. If you own one of these things, which I got a great big dog, and I got him from a lady for free, and that dog is big enough that if he wanted to, he could tear us apart. But that dog is the most affectionate to me and my wife. Now he don't trust other people. He don't want nothing to do with nobody else.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all on how you treat them. But again, they're using this as an excuse to cover up. Sooner or later, it's got to stop. You know, people like me, people like you, we know it ain't no
Right.
dog doing this. Ain't no dog stand up and walk on its hind legs and actually use its hands like a human will. And
That's not
again,
possible.
there's good and the bad. Now, so far, here I have not run into any bad ones. But then again, I ain't trying to play fetch with them either. I know they're there. I go out and smoke. I come back in. I don't go out there and shoot them. But so I think it's kind of like I'm in the mindset that we can all exist. We can coexist. I ain't gonna go over there and steal your kill. Don't bother me. And I think a lot of times when people see them and they snarl, I think it's because you're in their hunting territory.
Right. So you think
But
that one?
again,
You think that one that you saw in the broad daylight and it showed you and your wife its teeth? You think that was just like a warning?
I pretty much think it was like when you would see a neighbor and you would throw your hand up and say hello. You know, that was its way of saying, hey, I'm here. I'm going this way. Don't follow me. You stay there. You stay in your part and I'll stay in mine.
Yeah.
Do I actually want to trust that? No, I wouldn't. Because again, if one of them's been hurt or one of them's hungry, well, you're what's for supper tonight. But
Yeah.
again, I think it's good and the bad. You know, you have good ones, bad ones, just like you have people. But again, do you really want to go find out? No, you just, like the Indian said, I'll wave, I'll speak. I want to go on and do my own thing. You go on and do your own thing, and we'll get along just fine. And again,
Right.
I wasn't looking for these things. I'd never go looking for them. They just happen to be in the same place I am, and I don't give chase. I don't raise the rifle to shoot. I just monitor which way it's going, and I leave. And that might be something that people may want to think about is don't just keep staying there. When you see one, don't run. That right there makes you a target. You walk and you watch. And I ain't saying it's going to work all the time, but it's what's worked for me. But then again, I haven't run across anything that's tried to kill me like that.
Well, I hope you
Mainly
never run
mine,
into it.
them, they scare you.
Yeah. Well, I hope you never run into any of the ones that's trying to kill you.
No,
And if
I
you do, I hope you
I
have a
don't need
sword
that.
that you can cut its head off with, because I don't think a gun's going to do you any good, partner.
I'll tell
That's
you
just
what,
not
just like I
my belief.
told you before, that gun may not do me no good. He's guaranteed to eat me, but he's going to have a little indigestion when he eats me because I'm going to darn shoot at it if it attacks me. I ain't
Right.
going down without a fight.
No, sir. No, I know you won't. Everyone needs some means of protecting themselves when they're in areas that these things frequent. That's for sure. People need to know that they exist and that they're out there and they do pose a threat to people to varying degrees. They are threatening to people, and like I say, down here in Kentucky, we have the LBL, the Land Between the Lakes, and people. A lot of stories there about people getting attacked and killed and disappeared and everything. Official law enforcement cover up, and Martin Groves, he was in here early in the chat earlier. So shout out to him. He's a retired law enforcement official that's coming out and telling everybody the truth of what's happening with these things. So congratulations, and I'm proud of everyone that has enough guts to stand up and tell the truth, regardless of what happens. Men in Black might come and take you away tonight, but you've told the truth, and that's all you can do as a human being is to tell the truth and let everyone else know what's going on and trying to help everyone else. That's what we're trying to do here. It's not a popularity contest or trying to get a TV show or some silly stuff like that. It's just about telling the truth so people can know and be prepared if anything like this ever happens to them. And a lot of people wish they could see these Inhumanoids. They really do, but to them I say be careful what you wish for, because once you see one, you cannot unsee it. Your whole life changes. Your paradigm shifts, and your world becomes much, much larger than it was before. Much more dangerous.
The funny thing is about that down here, I found out that it could, I could get up, go to the bathroom or something, or we'd be sitting there watching TV, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. We have joggers that go by here. We've had joggers we watch go by here, go down the road, cut out in the field, and they'll be out in the field for an hour or two. Then they'll jog back to the road and come right back up by the house. We've had people go by here, conservation trucks. One of the weirdest things that happened to us down there that we still don't understand. We followed a trailer truck. It had a big box on the back, like a grain type trailer, but the top was metal. We followed this truck in. We pulled over to the side and parked. There were some guys spraying. There was no names on the truck. The license plates wasn't regular license plates. So we stayed close to that road because they kept watching us. They was waiting for us to go down the tracks. We wouldn't go. So we just kept sitting there. So we went back across the tracks, and there's a little park area. We stopped there. And we played around, goofed around, walked around, looked. This trailer truck could only come in, turn around at the knob, and come back out the same way it come in. That trailer truck was not there, because we went and pulled out of that same spot and went back. And we was there where we could watch the trailer truck the whole time. This trailer truck was gone. It did not come past us, and there's no other way to come out other than come past us. This trailer truck, where it went, I don't know. I had a couple people tell me to my face. Well, first they told my wife, then she told me, and then they told me, you're going to keep going down there snooping around, and you're going to go missing. Don't worry, we'll send a drone over, drop you some flowers out, but we ain't coming down there.
Yeah.
So it's one of those.
As I read in your email yesterday or the day before, you do have officials running interference there in Missouri the same way they did in Illinois, right? You got joggers jogging down the road 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning with lights on their chest and back. I've never heard of that. So
yeah, it looks like a round light in the front, but the back red light, like a tail light, is square, and it's on a headband. We've had people come by here a few weeks ago when it was cold, rainy. They was jogging in the rain, and they would jog until they get close to the house, and then they would run get past the house, stop, turn around, take pictures. We've had, and these are people we don't even know. We know a lot of people here in this town. These aren't people we know. We've had trucks sit out here in July and August, and I mean, it's stinking hot. Set in a vehicle all day long, just up the road, and watch us with a pair of binoculars. It's like we ain't doing nothing. We go to that place, we come home. Like I said, I've been told several times, you're going to keep going there and you ain't coming back. Like, well, okay. But I've had the conservation go by here. They used to never come by our house. They would turn and go up the highway. But periodically, you'll see 3 or 4 of them, like scattered out, come down this road and they'll just gawk. I mean, literally almost stop to gawk. And another guy told me that this place we go to upstream is another place. He was doing some work over there, him and his boss, and he seen a truck come in. It had a tarp across the top of it, a big trailer truck, loaded with cages. They went down to the end, crossed over the tracks, turned around. The truck was unloaded. When the truck come back, the tarps was off of it, and these big steel cages were stacked too high. He tried to tell me that watch out for wild boars. There's no animals down there. There's no birds. There's no squirrels. There's no possum. There's no animals, period. None. You won't even see a snake right there on them paths. Now, here's the other thing. They got a trail that you can walk, and it's named. That trail, right now, if me and you was to walk that, I guarantee you won't find an acorn, a twig, or a leaf on that path that goes up to those hills. Now, here's something that I hope somebody else has had this happen to them. There's benches, but where these benches are way back away from the main road. If you're at one of these benches, you can't be heard. These benches are backed up to brush 10, 15 foot high. If you're sitting there, you won't see or hear anything coming up behind you. So, my theory is that's the dining room table. Whoever sits there, that's the turkey that's going to be served.
Well, guess what? When we come up to visit you guys, guess where we're going first?
Wherever you want to go, I'll take you.
I don't want to be a turkey.
We're going to go right to that spot you just told us about and see what happens.
Let me tell you another thing.
Any trolls in the chat. Thank you, moderators. Thank you, Sherry. We don't want any trolls in here. We're not about all that. And trust me, if you're a troll, you don't want to be in here. You don't want me on you. Ask your boss about that. So, thanks to the moderators for doing such a great job.
Okay.
So, Mr. T, I'm going to change directions here a little bit because, you've told me so much in the last couple months. It would take a book to really do you justice. So, you were born to a dirt poor family, just like me.
Yep.
But there came a time when your family came into a lot of money, right?
Yeah, they come into a big sum of money. And to give you an idea how big, I don't know the figure, but it give them enough to buy brand new farm equipment, brand new grain bins, a machine shed, a brand new house, brand new vehicles. And they paid off a couple of my uncle's loans and paid off a house for some other person that's related to us. Now, it ain't like my dad had back surgery and got a settlement. No, this money come out of nowhere. I was never told why, but I was sent away for probably about 2 or 3 months. And I didn't know they got the money. I did not have a clue.
So tell everybody in the chat and the viewers what they used to do to you when you were younger and they took you to the clinic, quote unquote.
Okay, when I was a little kid, I was really tiny. And 3 days, sometimes 4 days a week, different relation would come pick me up. And they, hey, Todd, we're going to McDonald's. Hey, I'm ready to go, man. I'd jump in the car. We get up there at this clinic, and I would freak. They would drag me in the door, take me down the hallway. On the left side was little rooms. There was old people there in these beds. Now understand, there's no kitchen in this facility, so there ain't supposed to be anybody staying there overnight. They took me down this dark hallway, kept it dark, come to the room, they'd open the door, throw me through the doorway, and the people sitting in there in the dark would grab me. They flip me up on a chair or up on a table, whichever one they could get me to first, strap me down. They took these little, looked like a razor blade with a point on the end, and they took vials of blood from each one of my fingers. While they was doing that, they was taking my shoes and socks off, and they was taking blood there. Then I was allowed to leave. Now here's the weird part. If you miss enough days in school, you have to repeat those grades. I never had to repeat no grades. There was never nothing brought up about it. I was let out at a certain time. Different ones take me up there, and they would do this. My dad and mom never went. But a few years later, they come into a big sum of money.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to give you an idea,
How often did this happen to you? Once a week?
3 to 4 days, and probably over a period of 4 years.
Did you say 3 to 4 days a week?
Yeah, school days.
Over a period of 3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a lot of blood they took from you.
I never got to talk about it. The one time I brought it up to one of my teachers, she got a hold of my mom. My mom come and got me. My dad had a talk, and I was never to discuss this again. Never brought up. Years later, my dad, I feel like he was trying to apologize. He took me to town one day, and he goes, wouldn't you like to have a 3-wheeler? Yeah. We can't afford one. He took me straight to the Honda shop, bought me a brand new, and it was still in the box. We had to give him time to put it together. We went messing around. We come back, picked it up. Behind the seat, he had a box. It had my brand new coveralls in there. My dad never went to the store. Never went to a store. We left, and halfway home, he goes, I didn't have control over what was happening. I had no clue. And he said, you need to talk to your mom about that. But I am sorry that happened. He never discussed it again because I kept questioning him. I said, what was they looking for? What was they doing with that blood? Dad didn't know.
Your mother told you they were checking you for dwarfism. Is that correct?
Yeah, because there is dwarfs in my family. And that ain't how they check for dwarfism. They use x-ray and measure from your wrist to your elbow, from your elbow to your shoulder. They also check the x-ray to see if from your trunk, if it's really short. If that's really short, chances are you could be some sort of a dwarf. There's several types. Everybody I've ever talked to, Todd, that ain't how they check for dwarfism. They take that blood. Now let me clue you in on something. Instead of them saying, hey, calm down, no, they wanted me scared. There's something that happens in the blood when you're scared that they wanted. Sure.
I think everybody in this chat has at least heard of what's going on with that. So we're not going to say that, but we know what they were doing, why they scared you before they took your blood. And I'm grateful to you for having enough backbone to sit up here and tell everybody what happened to you. So
Yeah,
it
but let me.
all has to be connected somehow, some way. The Inhumanoids, the bloodletting, it's the government interference with everything. So it's our job to figure out what's going on, and once we do, we need to tell everybody. Just the same thing you're doing here. And we sure appreciate you coming in here and doing that too.
The thing is, though, that nobody knew. My aunts, uncles, none of them was told, except for the ones that took me there. They
Mhm.
didn't get to come in the room. They jumped me. My uncle would take me to the door. Inside the door, the nurses would grab me, carry me, drag me back in there, and these old people were sitting there like I was some kind of a stake.
Yeah.
And any possible way they could scare me, they would throw me in there and be jumped. Now, here's the kicker. That same doctor is the one that delivered me. He was always in the room. His prize student is one of the people that watches over me now. And I guarantee you right now, if you was a doctor or a dentist and I went to you, as soon as you type my name in, you'll get a phone call from her. And she will tell you there best not be nothing happen to him. Now, what that's all about, I have no clue. But I can't even go to a dentist or a doctor that this woman don't get notified, and she calls and tells them better not be nothing happen to that boy.
So what
Now,
do you think
what
you
that's
are,
all about?
Katie? Do you think you're some kind of government experiment, or
Well,
what do you think? Have you come to any conclusions at all about the
yeah,
strangeness that's taken place in your life and what they've done to you and what's happened to you?
yeah. Seriously, I told my wife about this, and I had to go to the dentist, and she found out, and I had to go back again, and they took me to another office, same doctor, another office, and what I told her, because she don't know everything either, because I just talk whenever I feel like it. From the time I was born until today, I was like, kind of like Clash of the Titans. All the gods are sitting around watching, and it's like I'm in a maze. They throw different roadblocks up. They mess with me in certain areas and leave me alone there. Then they'll throw up another block just to see what I'll do, how I handle things.
Mhm.
And that's what I honestly believe. I've got some people that whenever I go there to these places, they was told do not tube that boy. He will pass away. He will flatline. They was bound and determined to tube me. The phone ring, the dentist come in there, and he was not only scared, but he was pissed. And he goes, "Who in the heck are you? What are you?" "What do you mean?" He said, "I just got off the phone, and I got chewed by somebody, I don't even know who they are, but he said they got a lot of clout." And I said, "Remember I told you when I called, don't tube me?" "Yeah." I said, "While you left the room, this woman kept bringing a tube, and she kept bringing it, and she was opening up out of the package, and she was going to run that down my throat." And I said, "I ain't having no part of that." He goes, "Well, that don't make no sense. What's this woman doing calling me?" I said, "Let me tell you something. I don't know too much more than you do." I said, "The only thing I know is I told you not to tube me. Anything happens to me, you can deal with whoever they are. They watch me like a hawk." And I said, "There you go." So basically, I am the rat they put in a maze. They put a little car in there. They put a piece of cheese to see what I'm going to do. How am I going to handle this? How am I going to go around this? Now,
Yeah.
why they're doing it, I have no clue. Personally, I think my mom and dad, or my mom, sold the rights to me for them to experiment with.
Thank you,
That's,
Paranormal Roundtable.
that's pitiful. What's your blood type, T? Do you know? Excuse
I
me.
think it's A positive.
A positive.
Yeah.
That was a question from the chat room. So tell
I
us
never
about
made
what
no
happened
money
when
off
you had
that.
your car wreck. And you almost died.
I was with two other people. They were a lot older than me. And I was in the back seat. I was tired. I always had to work. From the time I was old enough to hold an axe, I had to work. My dad and mom kept me busy. I went with these people that I knew. We went up through a country road that took us to this pretty good sized town. And I went to sleep. I was tired. I fell asleep. When I woke up, I was laying on the back of the trunk of the car, face down. I didn't know what. I could hear the cops talking. They said there's two in the front that's dead. The one on the trunk, he's probably going to be dead. I laid there and it was cold. They covered them up with blankets because I could hear them opening doors. The other cop come back and was holding a blanket. He just happened to look. I couldn't talk. I couldn't move. All I could do was just look. And he seen a little bit of air coming out of my nose. He hollered to him and told him that he's still alive. Make a long story short, when I went to the hospital, there was a cop on the inside of the door, sitting at a little, like a school desk. There was a cop on the outside of the door. I was in a private room on a private floor. There was nobody else up there, just me. I never got no phone calls. Nobody come to visit. So I got to where I would talk to the cop. He never told me nothing important. We just talked. I had something to do, pass time. I went to sleep one night. They woke me up at 3 o'clock in the morning, asked me if I needed pain relief, and I said, yeah. They put it in the IV. I went to sleep. When I woke back up, both cops were gone. Now, this doctor that was attending me, I become real good friends with him. I asked him about it, and he said, well, near as I can tell, they said that you guys hit a trailer truck. I did not see no trailer truck there. There was no other vehicles there from where I was laying on that car. I don't know what they hit. All I know is they had cop on the outside and on the inside. I was not allowed no visitors. There was no phone in my room. They took that out. Nobody come to visit me. I don't know what them cops was doing there. They never questioned me. They was just there. They would talk to me. But if I would ask a question, they wouldn't answer. I wasn't allowed to leave that room until after, they was gone. Then I could venture around that floor. But there was nobody up there, just me. And there was a nurse's station, had 2 nurses in it. I was in a private wing. I don't know who paid for that. I don't know what I was doing in there. I have no clue what they hit. Even when I went back years later, there was no visible marks on that road.
Wow. But you were the only survivor.
I don't know what that was about. Why? And I don't even know where these 2 are buried at. Their bodies just kind of gone.
Yeah, you were the only survivor.
What they done with them, I have no clue.
He can hear you.
You were the only survivor.
These same doctors are the same ones I've had to deal with most of my life. They're good at what they do, but there's a lot of shady stuff going on too.
Right now, do you have?
So the only thing I can tell people is,
are your doctors
things out there
doing that stuff to you? Are they still keeping you out?
What I believe my mom and dad sold me out. I believe that's how they got their money.
Yeah, that's.
I went and lived with my grandma and grandpa for a while.
Mr. T, could you
and
still
things
hear
were
us?
good. I went back home. I was still being watched. I could go to school, and this ain't no kidding. I did this. I was in 4th grade. I was with my grandpa, and I was helping him And I wasn't supposed to tell what we was doing. Of course, I didn't know it was illegal, making shine. Had no
Right.
clue.
Linda, I don't think Mr.
I took
T
a bottle
here
to
is
school
funny.
with me that he told me to pour out the first gallon. Don't drink it. I thought, okay, that's not stealing. So I put it in the bottle, went to school. I got caught with it. They took me into the office, called my dad. My dad came in and he said, "You found that in the ditch." Okay. Do you know that never come up again? So what kind of pull does these people have? I don't know. All I know is I've been followed, watched. I've had things taken from me as if to
What?
say, hey, we can do anything we want to you. Let's see what you do about it.
Right. Can you
When
hear
you
me,
talk
Mr.
to a
T?
cop about it, they ain't gonna talk to you.
Can you hear
I've
me,
had
T?
good friends. Supposed to go fishing with them.
You
No,
can't
you
hear me.
can't.
They mysteriously wound up had a bad car accident.
Mr. T, can you
People
hear
bought them
me?
off. Other friends.
Mm-mm.
All I am is one big lab rat.
We'll just let him talk.
Sorry.
I moved down here and I got the best life I could possibly ever have. I got a wife that takes care of me, watches my back, and I'm living happy down here. Other than, like I said, I'm being watched, followed, spied on. There ain't nothing you can do about it. You just live with it.
Right. Can you hear me? Can you hear
Can you
me,
hear us
T?
at all? I think he can see our mouths moving, but I don't think he can hear us again.
Are you there?
You'll have to
Yeah,
go.
we're here.
Yeah, we are here.
Okay, I'm going to have to get off here and come back because I can't hear you.
There you go. Yeah.
Did he go and break? Oh, he put thumbs up.
That's why I put that message up there. I'm thinking, well, maybe he'll see it. I'm hoping.
Thank you too, Shadows.
Yes. Thank you, too, Shadows.
We appreciate it.
Very
Happy
kind.
birthday tomorrow, Miss Anna. We love you.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Guys, don't forget, I need my members to send me your birthdays, please, at lmsmith1970 at hotmail.com. Please send me as soon as possible. I need to do some shout outs.
All right.
Well, this is giving my fingers a break for a minute. So
We got a lot of good stuff coming up.
yeah.
Obviously, this is one of the best witnesses that anyone could ask for. It's so much happened to him, but we got a lot of stuff coming up on the LBL. We just got back from there, and hope you guys enjoyed the live streams we did on Halloween night from the Land Between the Lakes. We were able to do 2 of them. So if you haven't seen them, go check those out whenever you can. They're the second one was really strange. We found a very strange area there, and War Criminal 7. It was an area that he never really wanted to go to because he felt that something was living back there. So, of course, that's where I wanted to go. And when we got there, we found some strange stuff. So, yeah. Can you hear us, Mr. T?
Can you hear us, Mr. T?
Still can't hear. Hit his mic. See that mic right there?
That's muted.
Okay, don't do that. Well, it's a shame because
Okay, I'm his wife. He
Oh.
went out real quick and he will be right back. I just had to reset him.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
He'll be right back.
So thank you, Rich Skull. We appreciate you, buddy.
We appreciate everybody's help tonight. Thank you, Josh.
Josh, we
appreciate
love you too, brother.
Love you. And I will get your birthday. I don't know how, but I'll figure it out.
Shade Viking.
Call Nelly.
Love you, bro.
I'll call Nelly.
That's right. That's all you have to do.
We love all you guys. We appreciate everything y'all are doing for us, helping
Yes,
us
we
make
do.
our channel grow.
Thank you, Indy Southpaw. Appreciate that, Bo.
Remember, I need Indy Southpaw, War Chief, Tracker C, Stephen Hall, Sue G, Martin Groves and War Criminal 7. I need you to send me your address. I have some packages to send out to you. And send
Okay,
that
I'm back.
to the Facebook page that I just posted on here, LM Smith.
Hello, Fruition. Good to see you, buddy.
Hi. Hey, Felicia.
All right, we have Mr. T back now.
All right.
All right.
Hey,
So-
Mr. T.
Can you hear us, brother?
Yeah, I sure can.
Okay, we have a question from the chat is, what type of injuries did you sustain in that car wreck that killed your buddies?
I had back, leg injury. After good physical therapy, I've come out of it pretty much. Once in a while, I have a little arthritis, but other than that,
Easy.
I mean, I got a few scars.
Yeah. So the important thing is that you came out of it all right, and you're doing all right. You and your wife seem to be doing really good, and all this negativity in your life hasn't really bothered you that much. I don't think so.
No, I just learned to be cautious.
So, anything else you want to talk to us about, Mr. T?
Yeah, there's a couple things I'd like to touch on.
All right, we got all night.
Okay.
It says we might not.
I'm just kidding, Hollywood.
Any of this stuff can happen to anybody. It just so happens that a lot of this stuff that happened to me, I really don't know. I have theories.
Yeah.
Personally, I think my mom that they could use me and do whatever they wanted to with me, but I was to live at home. But some of the weird things that happened, I questioned my mom about it, and finally, I don't hardly ever talk to her. I don't talk to my family hardly because I feel like they all know something that they already tell me. It was me that went through this. They made the money off of it. I didn't make nothing off of it.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's right. And I don't know what they was doing with me, with all the stuff they was doing. Here's another good one for you. When I started kindergarten, I was told I was 5 years old. I went to kindergarten. I was in there for about 2 weeks. One night after school, about 8, 9 o'clock, we got in a vehicle and we went to the principal's house, which lived right there by the school. And she set me on her lap and she goes, "Hey, you're too little to be in school. These girls are carrying you around like you're a Barbie doll. Now, it ain't that you're stupid, but we got to take you out of class because you're just too little." Now, 4 summers passes. They took me back to the same school. I started school with another group of kids. The kids that I went to school with were like in 4th, 5th grade. Everything in my life that I know is things I can remember. There's pieces of my life that are blanks. I've looked at photos, same way with photos. There's photos for so many months, and then there's a big gap. So that's why I think my mom had something to do with this.
Yeah, so you have
And the only
missing
thing I
time
can tell
and
people
everything else.
is watch your children, because they was doing stuff like that back in that day with me. Some of these kids going missing and stuff, it makes you wonder. I know the type of hell I went through. I wouldn't wish that on nobody. When you don't know from one day to the next if you're going to wake up or if you're going to have somebody standing over you, put you in a hole. I just had a jogger go by, the same one with the headlamp and the red light on the back of the head just went through. And I guarantee you about 3 o'clock in the morning, 4, it'll come back through again.
He just went through.
Yeah.
Wow. T, do you have any brothers and sisters? And if so, do they have any problems like you're having?
No. I questioned my sister a couple years ago, and she don't remember none of that. She said, "I remember you leaving the school, but I didn't ever know where you went."
Yeah.
But it's funny, she don't have any clue. When
Well,
I was
that's
a
good.
certain age,
Good. I'm glad she doesn't. So let her
no,
just,
she
and then she wasn't doing that to both of you.
no,
Thank you so
my
much.
sister,
Debbie, yes.
my sister is one of those tough cookies, and nothing ever happened weird like that with her. But she said, "I do remember you being taken out of school." And she goes, "I always wondered, but I just figured Dad and Mom was taking you someplace." And when I told her what happened, what was going on, she jumped my mom's case, and my mom sat there and flatly denied it. And I told my sister, I said, "You can ask school with." I said, "Because I would come to school, I couldn't even pick up a pencil. I had band-aids that was on each finger because it left like a V imprint in your finger. And my toes would hurt so bad I wore a size shoe that was bigger because my fingers and toes hurt so bad. Sometimes people had to write for me because my fingers and toes hurt so bad. That was 3 and 4 days a week. Sometimes it was 4 days, sometimes it was three, but it was always during the school week. I never got flunked for missing days. So who else made money off of it? I don't know. Is it all tied together? Yes, it is.
Has to be. Do
Is
you
it
have
tied?
any spinal problems? Cryptoville wants to know if you have any problems with your back or your spine.
Popping
There's times
vertebrae or anything.
there's times when I have like if you strain your back, your spine feels like it's being compressed. A lot of times I just take some Advil or ibuprofen and I lay down on the heating pad until it quits.
Yeah.
I do have arthritis, and it's from all the stuff that has happened. They told me I'd be on arthritis medicine the rest of my life, and I don't because the medicine they was prescribing was too expensive to afford. So my wife is one of those people that she looks up things and studies things about like home treatment. I had COVID and darn near died from it.
Mm.
They put me on a steroid and the stuff, and they wanted to keep me. And I said, "No, I'm going home." My wife told me, she said, "Get rid of the steroid. Try this." I took the stuff she told me to, which is a well-known help and aid. I come
Mhm.
out of it, but let me tell you something. That left a big problem. You can ask my wife. I will outwalk her any day. And yes, I can. But there's times when mucus and stuff builds up in my chest, and I take stuff for it. That didn't happen until after the COVID thing. But every time I go to the doctor, I don't care what it's for, they want to admit me. And it's like, no, I don't think so. Because if I would fall asleep, what are they going to do to me?
Yeah, you
I'm
don't
one of
know.
those people, I don't go to the doctor unless I'm dying.
Same
Otherwise,
here.
I ain't,
Same here,
I ain't
T.
going.
I'll go to the doctor if I cut my hand or cut my arm off or something. Other than that, I'm probably not going to go.
Hey, Mr. T, I have a question for you. Uh,
Go
any
ahead.
any dream recollections of happenings in his life?
Well, okay. Um, Sometimes I do have nightmares about it. But the one thing that has happened out of all this is you change. Not physically, not mentally, you change. What I mean by that is you it's like somebody feels sorry for you and they say, "Well, you made it through that, so here we're going to give you this." And Yeah, you do get kind of a like a PTSD. Um, you just try not to think about it, but there's times when you can't do nothing but think about it, or you go to sleep.
Yeah.
And my wife will tell you, there's times I'll go on a roll talking about things, and she'll just sit there and once in a while throw her 2 cents in. And luckily, she listens to me, puts up with me.
Same here. Same with mine. I don't know how she does it sometimes, T.
It's hard.
It's weird, but you do each one of these accidents. I've gotten something, but not as in like money, but you get a gift, so to speak.
Yeah.
And
Like what?
well, I had some cousins that come by the house and asked me if I go 4-wheeler riding. I said no. I got stuff to do tomorrow. They took off. They got drunk, and there were several of them. They didn't know those roads. They just driving and drinking. They had a wreck, a pileup. There was 4-wheelers over everybody. People was pinned under them. One of them was not hurt as bad. It took him 3 hours to find my house. He come by there. He pulled over at my mom's, and I walked over to see what was going on, and he had blood all over his shirt. And I said, "Calm down. Whose blood's that?" And he goes, "I don't know." He said, "Everybody's cut up." I said, "So where are they at?" "I don't know." He said, "It took me 3 hours to get back here." He said, "I got lost." I said, "Okay." I said, "Mom." She goes, "Go ahead." I said, "Give me."
Oh,
You still
I told
there?
Mom, I said, "I know exactly where they're at." She goes, "How do you know that?" I said, "Let's get in the car and go." We called the paramedics. We called the cops. They met us at the highway. We took the long way in. And I told my mom, I said, "When I tell you, stop." They come to a T, and it was a big hump. They jumped that, hit a embankment that was probably 10, 12 foot high. The 4-wheelers kept falling over on the people that was behind. I led the cops in there, paramedics. After they got everybody loaded and got the different ambulances out of there, the cop come and questioned me, and he goes, "How come you ain't got no blood on you, and how did you know where they was at?" I said, "I know these roads like the back of my hand." And my cousin started to speak up, and I turned around and said, "You shut up." He goes, "No, seriously, how'd you know?" He said, "We'd have never found them." I said, "Because I know these roads." I didn't tell them the truth. I wasn't going to because, again, you don't know who you can trust and who you can't.
Right.
I've
Now,
had
what the viewers
people,
didn't hear, T, is that you took that man's shirt that was in the accident and used that to pick up some kind of vibration or whatever, and to figure out where the rest of the victims were. Right.
yeah.
Okay. And this happened.
And
So this ability happened after your accident. Is that correct? You didn't have it
yeah,
before that?
that's why I say it's kind of like a gift for your pain and suffering. Um, I don't know really how it worked. All I know is I tried it a few times, and you either get an image or you don't. Sometimes you get like a movie reel, just clips. I don't know how it works, how you turn it off, how you turn it on. All I know is the few times that I've had to find something or somebody, that's how you do it. I don't know any other way of saying it. My
Wow.
mom, my mom was scared to death for about 3 or 4 months after that because my aunt kept questioning on how them boys was found out in the middle of nowhere. And she cornered me, and she goes, "I want to know how you did it. Was you there?" No, I was not. I didn't go. Finally, my mom made me tell her the truth. I'm a big churchgoer. I said, "Yeah, I understand." And she goes, "This does not make logical sense." I said, "Well, I don't know what to tell you. It ain't like it's a cookbook, and you whip up these different powders, and pow, you can see this.
Mhm.
I don't know how it works. All I know is I started getting different little things like that. How it works, I don't really know. And it ain't one of those things where you can say, well, hey, I want to see if the neighbor dog's out in the yard. It don't work like that. It
Right.
either happens or it don't. Most times it does happen, My grandpa swears and be darned that during that accident, I was at his house talking to him. I was at the house.
Yeah.
I was in the hospital.
That's weird. Another question from the chat is, do you have any children, Mr. T?
So I don't get it.
Can you hear me,
You
T?
still there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Lost
Did it
him.
again.
Yeah, we lost him again. So everybody, please hit the like button if you don't mind. It really helps
Okay, I'll
out.
be right back. I can't hear you guys anymore.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, he's going to stop.
Yeah, please, if you don't mind, hit that like button. It really helps us out. It puts the show out to more people. So the more people who we can share the truth with, the better. Everyone needs to know what's going on with these people and these things. So please hit the like button. Help us out with the algorithm here. YouTube is a very, shall we say, hostile platform to truthers. Not so much to people who don't tell the truth. But us truthers, we have a hard time making it on YouTube. So if you can help us out by hitting that like button. Okay, are you back, T?
Yeah, I'm back.
We had a question from one of the viewers is, do you have any children?
Yes, I do. I have two, a boy and a girl. The girl's older.
Okay. Now, are they small like you, or are they? I don't want to say you're normal. Of course, you're normal, but are they of normal size?
They're both taller than me. The
Okay.
boy is about 6'2", 6'3", and the girl's probably about 4 or 5 inches taller than me.
Okay. Thanks for answering that, T.
Somebody wants to know, did you ever go under hypnosis?
No, during the period when I used to sign up for things because I was young and stupid, they was going to try it, and they made a few attempts. They said it wasn't possible. They couldn't do it. I wasn't, I guess, like a willing participant.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what they meant by it. They never did say.
Do you think that you have any implants in your body, T?
That I would have to say I'm not sure of. I've never noticed anything, but so I'd have to say I don't know on that one.
Okay. Just a few questions from the chat. Yeah, everyone under hypnosis. So, ever had any out of body experiences or dreams where you're out of your body?
I used to have those as a little kid, where you felt like you was above your body looking down.
Mm-hmm.
As I got older, I never had any. But when I was younger, periodically I'd have one, and it was always about the same. You was above your body looking down.
Yeah. Well, I've never had any of those myself, but we're just trying to get in some questions here from the chat room. We sure appreciate you taking your time to be here, Mr. T, and to tell
I'll
everybody
answer any question you got.
So, what's going on with you now, other than you being watched and interfered with? You have any problems with the dog man or the Bigfoot still?
Like I said, when I go outside to smoke, it don't make a difference what time tonight I go out there. Every time I go out, they're over there watching through the trees, and you can see them bobbing around the tree. Sometimes they'll come out where you see both eyes. They'll just weaving back and forth. According to where I move to, if I walk around while I'm smoking and play with a cat, they'll try to get where they can watch me. Now I got a dog here, and it's I ain't sure how you pronounce it, a Cane Corso. Basically, it's a Italian Mastiff. And if I take him to the backyard, he'll turn at the halfway point. At nighttime, you can't get him to go all the way back to the back lot. And that dog is not scared of nothing. He's huge.
Yeah.
We got another
No.
question.
Another question?
Yep.
Go ahead and read it, honey.
Did anyone come looking for the guy who stepped through a curtain and disappeared?
No. No, but like I said, there was a lot of weird stuff happening. It still does. And it ain't like that I'm the only one seeing it. If my wife is standing there, she'll see and hear things. You know, hear the same thing I'm seeing and hearing. So it's not like one person sees it and the other don't.
Right.
My mom, I stayed with her when I was sick way before I got married. And every night, this thing, a black, looked like a rolling smoke, would come up out of the floor and then take off down the hallway. We looked at each other and she goes, "Did you see that?" I was like, "Yeah, I seen it." She goes, "What is it?" I said, "I don't know." But we seen that together several times, and my aunt come over one night and the same thing happened, and my aunt goes, "I'm leaving." "What the heck was that?" I said, "I don't know." It does it all the time. So if somebody's with me and these things are happening, I ain't the only one seeing it.
Yeah.
I
So
was
you're
thinking
not
as-
imagining it. You're not just seeing things, and it's not your own
No,
imagination away with you. So
No,
right.
no, it's not.
T,
So-
who do
Go
you
ahead.
think was cutting you for the blood as a child? And do you think they were doing rituals?
Whatever they was doing with it, they needed me to be scared for whatever it was that was going mixing with the blood. I've heard several different stories about why they do things like that.
Sure.
Do I know anything for a fact? No.
Right. And Linda Wood, Mr. T, do you have any abduction memories or memories of seeing alien grays? I know you mentioned you
No.
had some missing time incidents. Never have. You don't think you've ever been abducted?
No, but I will say this, and me and you talked about this, and I'll go ahead and say that since you brought that up. From Illinois, me and my dad left to go see my sister graduate. My dad drove all the way to, I think it was Chattanooga, Tennessee. And he said, "I'm going to drive a few more miles." He pulled over and he said, "Now you drive, stay on this route." He had it all written down, the turns, everything. "Just follow this route." Okay. I started driving. I come into a fog. Wake me up at the 76 truck stop. Okay. I drove. The fog was so bad, I was trying to look out the side window to see. Out of nowhere, this green sign appeared that was lit up. And I mean, it was just a quick glance, and I seen a 76 sign. And it said the exit, so I took it. I turned off, pulled into the parking lot. I woke my dad up. And he goes, "Where are we at?" I said, "Exactly where you told me to wake you up at. 76 truck stop." We stretched a little bit. We looked around. We noticed there was only one trailer truck there. So we figured, well, okay. We went in. Got talking. Dad said, "You gotta go to the bathroom?" I was like, "Yeah." He said, "You go and go to the bathroom. I'll order for us, and then I'll go to the bathroom." Okay. He got talking to these people, this waitress and this old truck driver. And I come back out, and the look on his face looked like he was ready to rip my head off. And asked him what he looked like that for. Why he looked mad? He said, "Do you know you got us way off track?" That's how you figure. I followed all the things you got written down. He goes, "These people say that that's not true." So I looked at the paper. They showed me an atlas, and I showed them the route I took. I showed them on a map where I come across this construction in this thick fog.
Excuse me.
The electricity was so staticky in the car that my hair was sticking up trying to touch the ceiling. We thought we was in Georgia. No, we was in Kentucky.
Oh,
I never seen no signs that said "Welcome to Kentucky" or "You're leaving Kentucky." My dad got mad and said he's going to drive. These people argue with us. I showed them the route we took. They showed me a map, and the road I took does not exist.
Wow.
My dad said, "Well, how did he get across there?" And the lady said, "Unless he went across the swamps and the fields, I have no clue. You guys were way over here. Now you're way over here." We left. Dad said, "I'm driving. I don't know what you did wrong. Do you know it should only took us 19 hours? You know it took us 3 days?
wow.
The sun rose and set 3 times." Now, back to the question or thing you was talking about earlier. I will tell you this. I don't believe when they open up a portal for a ship or a plane to pass through, they open up one. I believe there's several that opens up all over the place. If you happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, you're in there. Do I think some of these missing people fall into one of those? Yeah. Or you don't.
Yeah.
If you don't, you're just one of the missing 411.
Mm.
No, I agree. I mean,
These people claimed that we was several miles off the mark. And there's no way I could have made it from this point when right after my dad went to sleep to where we was at. They told me that the road I come in on didn't exist. It was there. The road was there. I took it. When my dad left, he took the same road. We just went over the viaduct the other way.
yeah.
After that, my dad never wanted to talk to me about that. I'd ask him, how does it take us 3 days from Illinois to Florida? We kept ending up Georgia, Kentucky, Georgia, Kentucky. And that ain't the first time that's happened. I've had it happen before. I was trying to get down to Kennedy Mountain Road, Georgia. I had to do the stitching process in order to get to this cabin. So I stitched Tennessee, Kentucky, Tennessee, Kentucky. And I was driving along, and this car pulls me over. I just sat there, my dog was in the floorboard. Cop come up there and he said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm looking for Kennedy Mountain Road." I said, "I got a cabin there I rented, and I need some rest and relaxation." He goes, "You know, there's only one cop on duty in this whole county. That's me. Follow me to this line." He says, "It's a straight shot." I followed him. I didn't end up at the cabin either. I drove until it got daylight, and I found out I was in Tennessee, not Georgia. Did I see any signs exiting or entering Tennessee? No. So, from what I found out in some of these places that I've ventured to, I personally think that when they open one portal, a whole string of them open.
Yeah.
That's what I believe.
Well, you could be right, Key. It's
Hello?
we don't know. I wish we knew all the answers,
What
but
happened?
we're slowly getting there.
I'm gonna have to come back because I can't hear you guys.
Uh-oh.
Doggone it. Mr. T don't know that all paranormal roads lead to Kentucky. Seems like. or lead through here. But so yeah. Oh,
Everybody needs to go to bed.
This is one of the most interesting interviews that I've done in years, to tell you the truth.
I have never heard an interruption like that before, ever.
The way his voice, people were saying that the way his voice is vibrating out, that's crazy. We've never had that problem.
Yeah.
Well, good night, War Chief.
Good night, War Chief.
Let's get Mr. T back in here and maybe wrap it up.
Okay, I'm here.
Okay.
Okay, welcome back, Mr. T. So if you guys have any questions for Mr. T, go ahead and ask them. Put them in all caps, please, so we can see them easily.
Yeah, if I put them up before and we didn't get to it, put it back in, please.
Yeah. I just want
I'll
to say,
answer any question you got.
What's that?
I'll answer any question you have.
Okay. Well, you've been I was just saying while you was away that this is one of the most interesting interviews that I've done in years, and we really appreciate you coming on here and telling us about all this stuff. And you had tried to reach out to several big name YouTubers first, right? And
Yes, I have.
Didn't have any luck with that.
Nobody would reply to me, give me the time of day. I have that on my phone where I sent messages and they would not get back with me. And I was like, okay, so I'll keep trying. I come across yours and I listened to a couple of them. Then I listened to a couple that you was on, and I watched you read a lot of the emails, and I was like, well, I'll try one more time. And I ain't kidding you. You got back quick. I was shocked. I didn't expect. I figured weeks would pass.
Yeah.
That didn't happen.
What did I send you in reply? You remember?
Huh?
You remember what I sent you in my reply?
My
phone number.
Right offhand. Yeah, phone number. I asked about a phone number or an email so I could talk to you and tell you, because I had a lot of stuff that's happened to me and still happening that I thought that maybe it might be of interest to you. Maybe it would help somebody.
It certainly is, Mr. T. And if you will be so kind and generous as to share some of your videos, especially the one with the dog man. No one's ever seen a real dog man before, so if you could clear that up for us, that would be fantastic. I'm sure everybody's going to be talking about this interview for a long time to come. And any classmates hint that they went through what you went through? Any of your schoolmates?
Okay, I had one kid that the first time I went to kindergarten, this kid was a normal. 4 years later, when I went back to school, this kid was in that class. Dude, he was so messed up. I really don't even know why he was in that class. He should have been in a learning disability. And even then, I don't think he could have made it through those classes. I asked him what happened to him. The only thing he could remember was he had to go to a hospital. I asked him one time, and he described the same place I went. Now, what they did to him, I have no clue. There was nothing wrong with that boy. To this day, that boy is pretty unhinged. I mean, he's really not supposed to be out by himself. That's how bad it is. It messed with his head. Right. After that, they took him out of that school because I started asking questions. They took him out of that school. Periodically, I'd run across him over the years, but never really got a chance to ever talk to him alone. And like I said, once I started asking him questions, he was moved. He left that school. They moved from that little town, and I don't know what's happened to him. Do I think the same kind of things was happening to him that happened to me? Yeah, I do.
So there might have been a program going on there.
Yeah, kind of like this.
Involved other kids other than you. That's terrible.
Yeah, I'm like you. I think that I wasn't just the only one. I think some of them fared worse than others. And I think it was a lot of these small towns, because I hate to say this, but I'll go ahead and say it. Basically, to their way of thinking is the poor, nobody cares.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's
Poor
what I
people
believe.
have no choices in life. That's the
No,
rub of
we're
it all.
basically,
You know.
Yeah. Well, we have a ton of questions, and
let her rip.
okay, yeah, we're gonna try to get through these fairly quickly because there is a bunch of them. The first one
Okay.
is, Mr. T, are there any quartz deposits in the area?
Yes, there is.
I was gonna say all up and down that Mississippi. I know.
Yep. Along that
Do
bluff
you?
line.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Do you think portals or are artificial or naturally occur?
My grandma was full-blooded Indian, and she claimed the way their oral history was passed down, there is natural portals. The others are created.
Have you ever had a private blood test done?
Periodic, like when I had to go to the hospital or something, they would draw blood to check whatever it is they're looking for. I mean, it's just like routine. Used to, before you got married, you had to have a blood test,
Mm-hmm.
and I've had those. But as far as for sickness or anything, no, I don't very often get sick.
Mickey G says she might have missed it, but has your kid seen some of the same things you have?
I'm glad you got to that. And here's kind of a quick, short, but funny one. You know how kids, when they get 16, they got to try the parents? My daughter, I told her not to take this road. There's 4 ways to come into our house. I told her to stay off that road, and she goes, "How come Grandpa never took it?" I said, "Don't ask. Just stay off of there. Don't go that way. I better not catch you going that way." One night, I was over at my mom's, and she flew in the driveway into the yard. She come running up on the porch, and I went to the door, and I seen the porch was wet. She run past me straight to the bathroom. She in her pants.
Oh, wow.
I got her calmed down, and I said, "What happened?" She goes, "Remember what you told me? Why didn't you tell me the truth?" I said, "I didn't lie to you. I just didn't tell you. I didn't figure it's none of your business."
Mm-hmm.
I said, "The reason my dad don't go that way, a kid I went to school with, him and his friend went to see their girlfriend. They got a call from their parents because their parents was on vacation together. The kids tried to hurry up and get home, and they had a wreck on a bridge on the Mississippi." And I said, "My dad, I told him he wouldn't listen, and he's seen the same thing you probably seen. Did you see a person walking, but you could only see him from the waist up?" "Yeah." I said, "Describe the boy." She described him. She said, "I pulled over to give him a ride because I thought he was lost or cold. And he come up there, he didn't have no legs." I said, "Yeah, he's trying to get back home. Don't go that way no more." So,
Wow.
if that answers the question,
Right.
I don't
So
know.
they've seen some strange things then.
As far as them ever saying that they have any kind of gifts, no, I've never heard them ever say it, but I do know my daughter's seen that.
Okay. Have you ever been approached by the Men in Black?
Is anybody there?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're here. Can you hear us?
Can you hear?
Okay, I can't hear you.
Oh, no.
Oh no.
Hang on, I'll be right back.
Okay.
right.
Hey, Letitia,
Okay.
you're gonna have to start reading some of these. My eyes are starting to water so bad I can't see them.
I'm trying.
I'm like,
I can't figure out where you're at. So
I had to back up. The questions were coming in so thick and heavy, but I had to stay level at one point, and I'm just trying to get through them super quick. I'm getting down to the end of them. Yeah, because Bart kind of started down at the bottom, and I'm like, oh, you missed all these ones up here, but
right.
we'll get them. We'll get them. There's only a few more, I think.
Okay. There he is.
Here it comes.
Okay. So, Mr. T, have you ever been approached by the Men in Black?
I've been approached by people that don't quite look quite right. As far as the way they was dressed, to me they was just dressed kind of plain, but it was kind of like talking to artificial intelligence.
Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. Jason wanted to know what part of Kentucky did you all end up at?
When they kept
Me and my dad, when we were headed there, we ended up in Louisville.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a couple hours from where I live.
I haven't.
Drink 2 cups of coffee, please.
Yeah.
So, I tell you, T, you just been an amazing guest.
Well, I have one more question before we
Okay,
sign
let's
off.
do it.
Were there any missing children in your area?
Yeah.
Okay, if I dropped a pin where I used to live and you took and stretched a 50-mile cord, yeah, periodically there was missing kids. Now, they would always show back up, but they had no they had no clue where they had been. They just showed up wandering around.
Wow.
Wow.
All right, one more question, then I'm gonna let you. We're gonna end the live stream. So, have you ever used prayer to stop some of this activity?
I've gotten it against prayer. My mom force-fed me that, and I've kind of backed away from it. Usually what I do, I don't say nothing. I just turn around and walk off.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, T, it worked for me and a lot of other people. So, you can't force anyone to believe anything, but I will say it has worked for me. And that's my advice that I give to people when everything gets too much, that's who you should turn to. But like I say, everyone's different, and you've just been incredible. This interview's been incredible. People are going to be talking about it forever, and everyone on YouTube now is going to hold you at your word that you're going to send in some daylight video footage of a dog man, a real dog man. So whenever you're ready to do that, brother, you just holler at me, okay?
Okay.
And we'll do it together, and I'm sure we're not done. We talk quite often, and like I say, I have to write a book just to cover all your experiences, and there's so many more that we haven't even mentioned.
Yeah,
so
we had
the next time, okay?
We've already have people asking for a part 2, so if you're willing, we'll set up a part 2 with you.
I'm always willing, and anytime.
All right.
Anytime.
We thank you for being on, and we thank you for sharing your experiences with everybody, and thank you for your bravery. Telling everybody the truth. It's not many people do that. And it's a shame, really. Everyone should be like you, to stand up and say what's really going on in their life and what really happened. But we appreciate you, man, and we'll let you get to your wife. I know it's late. It's a Wednesday night. It's almost 11 o'clock. Thanks again for being on, and I'll be talking to you again soon, okay?
Okay, and I look forward to coming back.
All right. We look forward to having you.
And I want you to come down here, or come up here, over here, whatever.
We will.
And I want to show you these places.
Okay, we'll be bringing the blondes and the booze with us.
Yeah.
Hey, that's fine with me.
Bringing Hollywood and Christy with us. But you be safe.
All right.
Everybody knows that you have this footage, so hopefully no one gives you any trouble. Hopefully no one can figure out who you are or exactly where you live. So,
You know, it kind of comes with the territory. If it happens, it happens. You know, I was just glad.
For you, buddy. I tell you that nothing happens.
I was glad to get this out, and I never even got all of it out, but it's a start.
We'll,
Yeah,
we'll
That's
have
right.
you
good start.
back for part 2.
Okie dokie.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much for being here tonight. Brandy, can you
Thanks, brother.
tell me, do I need to remove him now
All you do is
and then
remove.
hit the extra, or what?
No, he can sign out at any time, and you just hit the extra, and we're out of here.
Okay.
Okay, before we head out, I just want to remind everybody that next week's guest he's going to blow your mind too. I've been promising you a lot of stuff on these videos, and I hope that you think that I'm delivering. Next week, I'll be delivering even more. Fella from Michigan has lifelong experiences with these dogman and Bigfoot, Inhumanoids, even a centaur. So I'm going to have him talk about that, and we will definitely get back with Mr. T. He's a fantastic interview he gave us tonight. We're so grateful to him for that, and pray that he has no problems and everything kind of evens out in his life and smooths out, and he lives a nice, long, happy life, him and his wife and his family. So, but we're going to get out of here, guys. Thank you all for being here. If you don't mind, hit the like button for me, and I can't wait till the next live stream. We're going to be blowing your minds again. So we've got another witness that's on a par with Mr. T, and I'm sure you know that there isn't many that has that many experiences. Not many people. So you guys have a great night. We love you guys. Thank you for all your support. Please consider becoming a member if you can. If not, just show up, and that's good enough.
Right.
So you guys have a good night, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
So I just need to hit the extra right now, right?
Yes.
When do I hit in stream?
At the end of the extra.
Okay. All right.
There we got it.
I'm hitting it.
Thanks,
Bye,
guys.
everybody. Thank
God
you.
Bye,
bless
everybody.
everyone. We love you.